Good morning, League fans. Coming to you this morning from Manchester, and as foreshadowed in the last hour, we are at the gala announcement at the Hard Rock Cafe that Warrington and Wigan are off to Las Vegas next year. They'll be joining the four Aussie clubs and Kiwi clubs in the second iteration of that promotion for Rugby League, that amazing event that we all enjoyed last year, those of us who were lucky enough to go. And so we'll be spending the next hour chatting to everybody here at the function, the CEOs of both clubs, all sorts of people. So enjoy, strap yourselves in. It's a very special episode, celebratory episode of Good Morning League Fans. Okay, our first guest, the CEO of Warrington, Karl Fitzpatrick. Karl, some people listening may have missed the news so far, so let's break it to them again. What's happening?
Incredible news. Look, the rumours are true. Warrington Wolves, Wigan Warriors, Super League are coming to Vegas 2025 on the 1st of March. Incredible news. You know what I mean? It's such a seminal moment, such a breakthrough moment for Super League. We watched the games last year, and to be honest, we watched it with probably through green eyes, a bit of envy of what the NRL delivered over there. But now we're part of that party. We're part of the biggest event in rugby league history, in my opinion, and 2025 is going to be bigger, better and bolder than ever.
Now, the nuts and bolts of it, there'll be 4 matches at Allegiant on the same day, is that right?
That's correct. So we've got obviously the Super League fixture, do you know what I mean? 2 of the biggest clubs in Super League, and then we've got the England women versus the Gillaroos, and then we've got obviously 2 NRL fixtures, so part of a rugby league extravaganza.
It's like a sort of magic weekend in one day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably magic weekend supercharged, do you know what I mean? It's such a breakthrough moment for Super League to be part of that occasion, and the opportunities are incredible. Do you know what I mean? We're going to the entertainment destination in the world. We've got millions and millions of eyeballs to be potentially being on the sport. It's just a really super and exciting opportunity for the game.
Now, Kris Radlinski, I think the World Club Challenge was born when Graeme Lowe was drinking with Maurice Lindsay. There's a half a bottle of Malbec involved in this concept, I believe, too. But Kris Radlinski at the press conference spoke about your regular meetings with him. So give us some nuts and bolts about that. Where do you go? Is it the same place every week? And when did he break it to you that he'd like you to be involved in this, or that he got an email back from Peter V'landys?
Yeah, we discussed it before we reached out about, do you know what I mean, breaking out of I call it the rugby league bubble, and trying to get Super League mainstream. Do you mean? We look at the fantastic job the NRL do, and we look at, okay, how can we replicate that over here? What learnings can we take? How can we promote the game on a bigger stage and give the game the platform that it deserves? You know what I mean? I've been involved in this sport professionally from 1997, do you know what I mean? So I've got rugby league running through my veins, as has Kris Radlinski. So we're the kind of people that lie awake at night thinking about how can we promote Super League, how can we get more mainstream, how can we promote the game bigger and better. So before he reached out, we spoke about, what can we do? He said, I'm going to speak to V'landys. He got in touch with him, and he come back and said, you know what, we could be on here. And it took me probably half a second to say, yeah, we want to be part of that. We're going to do it. But in terms of where we meet, how does that happen? I guarantee, Steve, that I probably pay every single time for the coffees.
Is it a Tesco at the ground at Holywell Jones?
Yeah, multiple venues.
Home and away?
Yeah, Starbucks, Costa. There's other coffee shops available. Postcode Coffee in Wigan. So yeah, we meet regular occasions and just like, okay, how can we promote the game? And you've been here today, and I said this on stage, that I can probably guarantee the press, the fans, got partners here, they would have never been to a press conference like this before in the UK. So this is something special, something to build on, and hopefully not just Wigan and Warrington will benefit from this, but the whole British game.
Here's a kind of more contentious or newsworthy question, but is this the beginning of the NRL dealing directly with Super League clubs over events?
Oh, that could be the case. And the NRL have been fantastic working with them, helping us in terms of being part of their schedule. So yeah, why not? Do you know what I mean? Let's be honest, there's 2 main competitions in the world: the NRL and the Super League. It's probably crazy not to think, do you know what I mean? Why can we not come together, do you know what I mean, and have some mutual benefits? So yeah, why not? Let's work together.
To what extent are Rugby League commercial involved in this, aside from sanctioning the match?
That's probably about it. They've been very supportive. Rodri's done a great job in terms of supporting the game, but it's been Wigan and Warrington that drove this.
Yeah. Do you think the NRL are poised to get involved in Super League in a corporate way, in a financial way?
That could be an opportunity down the track, and I think this could be a nice little dip the toe in the water in terms of working with the NRL, and it's something that we probably should be looking at. As mentioned, there's only two full-time competitions in the world, really, so it makes sense to work with one of us. So yeah, that could be the case moving forward, Steve.
Now, I was there this year and wrote a little bit about it, and I thought it was a transformative thing this year because, I don't know, sometimes the ceiling of rugby league is it's almost like rugby league can't do anything that the working class can't do, and it gets sort of talked down by a lot of people. You know, don't get above your station. And if we take people along with us to these things, then suddenly the game's horizons broaden as well, don't they?
We have to think big in this country. We have to think big. Okay, we have to think big. We have to dream big. Now, the birth of the sport, 1895. Do you know what I mean? Wigan, Warrington. We was one of the founding fathers, so we was brave and bold enough to break away from the code of rugby and start up rugby league. You know what I mean? The Northern Rugby Union. In fact, only 100 yards from here is where they had the first meeting after the breakaway at the St George Hotel. So rugby league is a revolution at heart, and this is different. This game is like a revolution. We are trying to break the mould. We are trying to make Super League more mainstream, and it's set to be an exciting and spectacular event.
Congratulations, Karl. Thanks for inviting us along. See you in Vegas.
Absolute pleasure, Steve. Thank you for coming.
Good on you. I'm going to put that up straight away. What an amazing guest, a guy I didn't expect to be speaking to here today. Formerly of the New Zealand Warriors and Wigan before they were the Warriors, Dean Bell. Dean, 1989, when coincidentally, or maybe not a coincidence, the same two clubs went to Milwaukee. What are your memories? It was quite a violent match.
Yeah, it was violent because of the way the pitch was set out. When we arrived, it was already a narrow pitch because it was on a baseball field. But we found out that the third base was in the middle of the field. And most people don't know about baseball mounds. They're like concrete. So obviously they had to narrow the pitch even more. So, I mean, Wigan-Warrington games have always been very tough fixtures, very physical games. Yeah. So, you know, we were playing on probably a 40-metre pitch in the width at the most, I would say. So, yeah, it was like a boxing match, really.
Yeah, and at the time I was an Illawarra Steelers fan. I remember Steve Hampson and Andy Gregory. They went out to play in Australia, but it was in their contract. They had to still go to America for an exhibition game, which would never happen today. But there was talk that there was actually a bit of an agreement the first scrum might break up. Is that true?
It's probably what usually happens in the Wigan-Warrington games anyway, back in those days. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun because it was an opportunity to show the world about, you know, how good our game is. And, you know, and some of the Americans, they were astounded that we didn't wear pads and we didn't have helmets and things like that. So, I mean, we know what the great sport is, and we just got to showcase it to the rest of the world.
And rugby league's been trying in America for 75 years, and we don't seem to stay at it, do we? We dip our toes in, and then we pull back out again. Is there any reason to think this might be a little different?
Oh, I think it is different. I mean, they've already got a 5-year contract, which, you know, states that you know, there's a bit of long-term planning in place. I mean, you know, at the moment, you know, you've got to think about the exposure that it's getting, and obviously TV rights that it may go into the States and things like that. So, I mean, we know it's a good game. We've just got to make sure that the rest of the world understands that too. And I mean, and I think it's good for Super League too, because I mean, you know, I live in the Southern Hemisphere and everything's NRL, which, you know, and it's a massive sport, but Super League's got a big part to play in the global game as well.
The other Warriors are going as well. So who will you be? I mean, obviously it's easy for you. They're not playing each other. But which game will you be most sort of intent upon?
Yeah, good question. Probably both. I mean, I spent 8 years at Wigan, so how could you not sort of want to follow them? But you know, I mean, I'm the first Warrior as well, so in New Zealand. So yeah, I mean, 50-50 really.
Yeah, and you must be the heartbreaking loss of the weekend for the Warriors, wasn't it? But what a year they've had. Some great wins and some pretty poor losses, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the weekend that you talk about, you know, against the Bulldogs I was at the airport ready to fly out. I went to the airport early just so I could watch the game, and it was just so disappointing. But if they play like that every week, I mean, the Bulldogs did something special to actually to win that game. If they play like that every week, they're going to win more games than they lose. I think. Yeah, it's been disappointing compared to their season last year. And I think they've now set some standards that they've got to reach every week. So, but up the wires, they're all over the place at the moment.
That's right. Rugby union's getting worried, isn't it? After all these years.
Well, you're right. I mean, it's just. I mean, yeah, but that's rugby union's fault. I mean, they sit back and think they don't have to do anything with their game, whereas the Warriors get out there and they're the people's game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the old boys game against the Broncos a couple of weeks ago, and obviously I was there, and it was an amazing experience. I mean, the atmosphere you get when you go to those games is something surreal.
Dean, can we safely say see you in Vegas?
Well, I've got, as I say, I need some creativity and some money from some marketing person at either of the clubs to get me and the wife there, and I'll be there.
He's put the message out. Thanks, Dean.
Thank you.
Matty, Peet, welcome. Now, it sounded in the press conference like a bit of a challenge to British fans. He's used the term take over a couple of times. You want to show up the Aussie fans a little bit in numbers and in volume?
I think we want to make an impact, don't we? We want everyone to notice that we're there. And I think British Rugby League fans getting the chance to mingle with Australian Rugby League fans is always a good thing as well. Sharing stories, sharing experiences, sharing some good times over a few beers is always good. I just don't want our fans to miss this opportunity. It could be one of those things that you look back on in later years and either really pleased that you went or gutted that you missed out. So, we've all got a choice to make. I think we've got to commit as clubs that the on-field product is really good, that we promote this event to its maximum. And when we're over there, I think we've got to immerse ourselves in Las Vegas and the week.
Your CEO mentioned emailing Peter V'landys after half a bottle of Malbec. It could be a half bottle of Malbec that goes down in rugby league history. But did he let you know about the idea before or after he emailed Peter V'landys?
No, he talked a lot, myself and Kris, and he's very innovative. He wants to break new ground. So he has a lot of ideas and a lot of things that he works hard on, and they don't all get to come to fruition. So not everyone else gets to hear about them, but I do, and I know how hard he works on trying to get involved in things like this. So to see him get this one nailed and to know it's going to happen, I'm really pleased for Kris personally. I think both clubs deserve credit, but just him as a friend, I'm made up for him that he's got a chance here to do something he's passionate about and lead the club, to America.
This year I was fortunate enough to see you win a World Championship and then get on the plane on Monday over to Las Vegas. What if you're involved in both games next year?
Well, that'd be perfect. That'd be absolutely perfect, and that has to be the plan. I won't worry too much about that yet, but things like that, when people suggest that might be a challenge or that might be a problem, that they're exactly the kind of problems you want. I'd hate not to be involved in a World Cup challenge. I'd hate not to be going to Las Vegas. So it'll have its challenges, but those are the challenges that inspire you.
But from a practical point of view, would you actually have to play those two games in 8 days?
I think so, yeah. It's not too bad, is it?
It's incredible having to do that. What a week. Be the biggest week in the history of the club, for sure. Do you get the sense that this is the start of a bit of a new era as far as the Super League clubs dealing directly with the NRL over these sort of events?
I hope so. I think we're all envious of the NRL at times, and not just the quality of the product, but the exposure, the way it's marketed and the way it's produced. Visually it looks outstanding, and they're innovative in the way they go about the business. So I think the fact that the two organisations, the two competitions have worked together on this, hopefully it can be something that happens more often. The programme of the World Cup Challenge, the international calendar, things like that. If we can be more cooperative, then I think everything could work better.
See you in Las Vegas.
See you there, mate.
George Williams, captain of England. Last time we spoke to him, it was a warm late afternoon sunshine in Perpignan. Now we're in Toulouse, and now we're in very un-Las Vegas weather. But it won't be your first visit to Las Vegas, is that right? Because you will have been there.
I'm going in November on my stag do's, so for the first time. So I've not been yet, but I'm sure I'll suss it out before I go.
In your time in the game, the vibe around here this morning at the launch, how does it compare with other events and other launches you've been to?
No, this is the most exciting I've seen. An event for Super League and for the game over here. So really pleasing. I think I'll reflect on my drive home now. It's just really good, and it's going to be a special occasion for our sport. But I keep saying it, Super League, it's a massive step in the right direction. We follow the NRL because they do a lot of right things, and I think this is a great step in the right direction.
Your former club, the Raiders, are also going. You get to catch up with a few old mates?
Yeah, I've been texting Hudson Young. I'm really good, close with him, so I've been texting him this morning saying I'll see you there. So I'll catch up with some really good friends there, and can't wait for that one.
Since you've been back, what's been your overall impression of the way the game is going here, and what difference do you think this event will make?
Yeah, well, being honest, obviously the NRL are in front. That's the reality of it. So when I came back, it didn't shock me, but I knew the difference in what was going on. But things like this is only going to benefit the game in this country, and I'm really pleased it's going ahead, and hopefully it continues, because the NRL have signed a 5-year deal. Not just the Las Vegas thing. I think we could follow them in a few things. I know they've got a bigger budget and stuff, but I do believe that the game here is going to grow. The product. If you watch the game, you love the game. I think I believe that a lot of people, even outsiders, they watch it, they normally like it. Yeah. We just need to get more eyes on the game, more people and new audiences. I get it's tough nowadays with kids and whatnot, but we've got to keep striving to get into the communities and make our game great again.
Thanks for talking to us, George. Safe journey home.
Thank you. Take care.
Good on you, mate. Thank you. Last but certainly not least, the Wigan CEO, Kris Radlinski. Before we talk about what is destined to be the most famous half bottle of Malbec in rugby league history, can you tell us the order the games are being played in?
We'll start it with a 1:30 kickoff. I think game 2 is Raiders versus the Sharks. Then it's the Women's International, and then it finishes with the Warriors against Penrith. So an incredible day of rugby league. It's going to be a festival, and how exciting!
How was it difficult to organise for the ground to be open so long? I guess it's not unusual, because American football games go about 2 days anyway, don't they? Right?
No, it's a really good question, because that was the biggest challenge, because it's labour. The labour rules in Vegas is something we need to consider. So that's the one thing that the stadium came back to us with, that the workers are going to have to work a hell of a long day. So we needed to overcome that. At first, they offered me the Sunday, but it was a standalone fixture, and I wanted to be part of the big dance, to be rubbing shoulders with the NRL. So we managed to get it on the Saturday. I think people probably don't appreciate and don't realise the obligations and considerations we need to do. If I can give you an example, we play with a different ball to the NRL. We have different post pads, different corner flags, different branding, different LED. We need to tick all of them to ensure that our sponsors are happy. So to pull it off is a logistical challenge, but what a challenge to be involved in. It's been three or four months of solid work, and it'll take another 8 to 9 months to pull it off. And I keep saying this: we are flying the flag for Super League. Success for me is 2 different Super League clubs going the year after. And if any Super League club comes to me and said, how did you do it? What's the business model behind it? I'll show them everything, because that's what we need to do to help each other to grow. We want the game to grow, and I've no doubt that I'll grow from it as a chief executive, and I'll learn lots along the way.
Being from Wollongong, I believe that Wollongong's comparable to Las Vegas, but not many other people do. Wigan previously played a comp game in Wollongong, and despite all the sponsorship you had, people suggested afterwards that it broke even or maybe lost a bit of money. So is this a loss leader? Is this a flag flying exercise? Is it commercially, does it make sense?
Well, first of all, I'm not doing it to make money. And we will lose revenue straight away from losing a season ticket game and losing match revenue. So that's a loss. To fly 2 teams to Las Vegas, put them in hotels for a week, feed these players, it's a lot of money. But there is a revenue model in place, split on tickets, and I know my target's what I need to hit to break even. And if I break even, then I'm happy. If there's a small loss in there, I'm pretty sure it will still be worth it. The positives certainly outweigh the negatives, and we know all the risks, but you have to be courageous. And I'm lucky that I'm backed by a board and an owner who are prepared to take that risk.
Maurice Lindsay come up with the idea of the World Club Challenge after drinking with Graeme Lowe and calling Ken Arthurson in the middle of the night. It sounds like there was a kind of similar story behind the birth of this idea, a half bottle of Malbec and a late night email.
Yeah. I listen. I watched the NRL games in the morning, and later that night, I was halfway through a bottle of Malbec, and I emailed Peter Vlandis. Tony Mestrov, who's a very good friend of mine, put me in contact with Peter, and within 24 hours, I got a really favourable response. Saying, "Will you, let's talk?" And he introduced me to his executive team at the NRL, and they've been so professional to work with. I've not had to twist their arm to be part of this. They see the value in Super League, and they see the value in us being part of it. So they're determined to make this as a bigger success as we are as well. So yeah, the Malbec has got something to be thankful for, but it's worth it.
It'll become very famous. You might get some brand endorsement there. Kris, before we go, what does this mean, the fact that you dealt directly with the NRL? Probably wouldn't work exactly the same in reverse. The relationship between the governing body and the clubs is a bit different in the Northern Hemisphere than it is in the Southern Hemisphere. So is this the beginning of an era where the NRL do more things directly with Super League clubs? And I ask that question with the context of people continuing to speculate that the NRL may invest in Super League.
Yeah, I'm involved in all the Super League meetings, all the Rugby League commercial meetings, and we don't know. We hear rumours about the level of investment. We hear rumours about what the plans may be, but we've not seen anything at this stage. I've no doubt that talks are happening somewhere, but for me, dealing with the NRL executives, it's been easy, if I'm being honest. Like I said, I'm not doing, or we're not doing something that they don't want to do. They see value in Super League. They see value in our fans going to Las Vegas. They see the value that Wigan and Warrington will put on a show. Will this be the start of Super League working with the NRL? If other Super League teams go, then of course it will, and they should embrace it, because as I mentioned, they'll learn loads from it. I'll learn loads from it, and who knows where it'll take us in the next 2 or 3 years.
How do you think we'll look back on this in 10, 20 years?
Well, look, we're still talking about Wigan v Bath, aren't we? We're still talking about Wigan v Milwaukee. It feels like a big day today. We picked this venue because of its American feel, the media presence, the fan presence. This felt like a big moment for the sport, and it's up to us to not waste it and capitalise on it. And we need to make this a success, and we will.
I mean, they say that the first set of Northern Union fixtures were drawn up 50 yards from here, and after that night out, Morris and Lowy, they were able to tune in and watch that game played again this year, and you won. So the fact that you maybe, this could be something to stay. It's something to be proud of for you, that you come up with the idea late at night, isn't it? It's something that you've got to be proud of.
I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. Rugby League, Wigan in Las Vegas. It's big. We walk to the stadium and you walk past, fans wearing jerseys. We're going to be doing that on one of the most famous streets in the world, on the Las Vegas Strip. And you can have a lot of fun in Las Vegas. You can get in a lot of trouble, and it's made for Wigan and Warrington fans in that respect. So they'll have a great time. They'll have a great time together, and I'm sure there'll be some great stories that come out of it.
Drink and gamble responsibly, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kris.
Absolutely. Cheers, mate. All good.